Hi, and welcome to this autumn time metal element yoga flow practice to do with the meridians and organs of the large intestine and the lungs. Very much to do with the in and the out of the body. So the lungs bringing the oxygen in, letting go of the carbon dioxide, and the large intestine working on that process of moving stuff through and out of the body. It's a lovely practice. We're going to work with some pranayama, some Bastrika breathing. The Bastrika is quite a strong pranayama in as much as you're pumping the breath using your abdominals. So any sort of reason for not practicing that would be any sort of surgery or anything to do with the abdominal area. So pregnancy as well, or trying to get pregnant, then I really wouldn't practice Bastrika. It also sublimates energy upwards. So any conditions to do with the head, like maybe sinus problems or pressure in the head, anything to do with your eyes, again, it wouldn't be a good pranayama to practice. And any blood pressure or conditions to do with the heart, I also wouldn't practice this pranayama. But if you are watching this or if you're partaking in this and you're not sure, you just practice good breathing at the point in which I practice the pranayama. So we're going to start standing. Also, there's a couple of quite strong twists in there as well. And again, make sure you take the easier variation. And if you have a chair, have it nearby, or you can use a sofa. We're going to end with Viparita Karani, which is a really nice, gentle inversion, very restful, restorative ending posture for this practice today. So come and stand. And we're going to start with a little bit of Tao Yin, which is a nice way just to wake the body up quite quickly. So just moving the weight forwards and back, come into a place where you feel stable and steady. And we're just going to start with a little bit of tapping onto the top of the head. So just light pressure, just gently tapping into the whole area of the head. And as you do this, you're breathing in and out slowly. So just brings an awareness, stimulates the circulation to start flowing. And it's a really nice way just to sort of the sound of it. If you close your eyes and you listen to the sound, it's a very therapeutic, cleansing, harmonizing thing to do. And just breathing slowly and tapping on the very top of the head, called governing vessel 20, 100 meetings point. It's a nice way to sort of stimulate the body, stimulate the yang qualities, and bring some energy in. And then just wipe the forehead as if you're wiping away any tensions or stresses that you might have. Working into the face, I'm going to come forward so you can see. We're going to bring the thumbs to the base of the eyebrow eye socket and just squeeze along the eyebrow. This pinching action, again, just stimulating. Like a little facelift when you work into the face like this. And then coming under the eyes and just using, you can use a middle finger just to press gently along the bottom socket to the outer corners of the eyes. And just applying a little bit of firm pressure as you go. Again, it just awakens the body. And then come down the edge of the nose to the nostril. And when you get to the nostril, this is actually the last point in the large intestine meridian. And I sound very strange. You can just give a little shuggle or just press into the point. Really good for any pressure around the area of the nose, any sinus problems, any pain or discomfort. And then bring your thumbs up underneath your cheeks, under the cheekbones, and just press up with an upwards movement towards the ears. And we'll just do that again. Just a little pushing upwards just underneath the cheekbone itself, and then pinching along the jawline. And as you do this, you're breathing in and out slowly. Good. And it's quite nice just to then give the ears a little pull. So drawing them out, opening the ears out. A squeeze of the neck, so just holding onto the neck and just giving it a little squeeze. Just it can be really tight around the area of the rhomboid muscles, and maybe coming just onto the top of the shoulder with the heel of the hand, and the fingers are just into the back of the shoulder. And then do that on the other side, like a scooping action upwards. And then just coming along to the sort of top of the shoulder and giving that a little squeeze. can be really quite tense and quite tight. And then holding the elbow, make a fist, and with a very floppy wrist, you're going to tap into the front edge of the shoulder. So where the sort of the foothills of the trapezius muscle. And then tap into the back a little bit more, so just above the shoulder blade. Tapping all the way backwards and forwards. And as you do this, you're just breathing in and out. This is just a really nice way to start to open the energy of the body up. Good. Do that to the other side. So first of all, just tapping along the front of the shoulder. This is where the large intestine meridian travels up. And then just on the back. So this is just to get a little bit more into that tight, stiff muscle, the trapezius itself. Breathing in and breathing out. And then come and tap onto the chest. So I've obviously got a microphone here, so I have to be a little bit careful of that, but you can tap generally all over the area of the chest, and it's quite nice to make an audible exhale. So breathing in, exhale, breathing in, exhale, good, do another one of those, inhale, and exhale, good. And then we're going to come down one arm. So the yin meridian's in the arm, the lungs, one of them. And then up the back of the arm and the large intestine is another one. I work also with some extensions to those meridians that are in the legs and in the torso. But the main meridian that we focus on is in the arm. So the lung and the uppermost portion of the arm, and the large intestine and the uppermost portion of the back of the arm. When you get back to the chest, you can again come across the chest to the other side and tap down the inside of the arm. So you can feel how that starts to energize the system. It starts to get the blood flowing. You're opening up the meridian lines themselves, creating a little bit of space. You just feel alive when you've done this. You feel like you've woken up. Good. Come back to the chest. And just with the fingertips, just tap into the sternum. And then down the center line to the abdominal area, and then come back to fists again. And then I'm not going to mirror you. I'm going to do the same as you. You're going to tap in a clockwise fashion, and I'm following the direction of the intestine. So up on the right-hand side, across from right to left, and then down on the left-hand side. And just keep going in that circular fashion. So it's important to follow the direction of the movement of waste through the body, the direction of your digestive system. Okay. Good. You can just rub the hands as well if you prefer, just rubbing the hands. And then come to the back. So fold and just tapping down either side of the spine a few times, just bending the legs a little bit as you do this. And then give the buttocks a really good sugar and a tap. So it gets right into that piriformis area, the glutes, where they can get quite tight. And then come to the legs and then tap down the outside of the legs. So this is gallbladder in the legs. And then come up the sort of inner seam of the trousers, coming up liver meridian in the legs. And then reaching all the way around to the back, to the legs if you can, which is bladder in the back of the legs. And then coming and reaching as far into the inner seams of the trousers as you can, the kidney in the legs. And then come down the outside of the thighs, the stomach, and then up the inner shins and inner thighs. And then just give everything a little shake. You can shake off through the hands and through the feet. You can give everything a little flick. Breathing in, exhaling, inhale. And exhale. I feel much more alive, much more awake than when I first came to my mat to do this practice. Good. And then stop and just notice. Open the arms wide. Good. Cross that left arm over the right. Give yourself a hug. Breathing in, opening the arms wide. And again, right arm over left. So working with the meridians in the arms, thumbs move up, open through the fronts of the arms. And as you exhale, the backs of the arms come together and the index fingers point away. Inhaling, opening through the front of the torso. And as you exhale, rounding and pointing those index fingers away. Inhale. Full breath in, exhale. Good, inhaling. And exhale. Let's take another one of these. Inhale. And exhale. Good, open the arms wide. Drop the left hand down, right arm goes up, take a little side bend. So keeping the feet rooted, the knees just bend slightly, and the movement is very much away from the hip to the shoulder. Inhale as you come back to the center, and as you exhale, take that side bend the other way. Keeping the feet nicely rooted. Good, and inhale as you come back to the center. Bring the hands to the chest and take that into a rotation, opening up to one side. So keeping the knees pointing forwards and just letting the movement come through the torso, the sternum area. And then inhale, floating back to face the front. And as you exhale, take that rotation the other way. Just letting the gaze move back and then breathing in. Swoop the arms wide. So this is about looking at the boundary, looking at the space around you. Interlacing just the thumbs and pointing the index fingers away as you fold forwards. Feet are about hip distance apart. Send the arms up, maybe a little shuffle of the shoulders, depending on the tension that you have around the area of the shoulders. Just letting the weight of the arms create the stretch. So we'll come back to this shape a few times in the practice. So lower the arms to the hips. Inhale, very gently lifting up. Release the arms. Good. Take a little balance, lift the heels, just find that little sort of balance that you have. And then as you exhale, fold. Got a few balances in the practice as well. And then come into your forward fold. Linger. Just move the hair gently from side to side. And then pressing into the feet. Inhale, bring the arms wide. Come all the way back to standing. Good. Exhale. Bring the hands back down. Good. And we're going to turn to the top of your mat and take this into Warrior One. So sinking into that front leg as you inhale, let the arms move up. Then squeezing the shoulder blades together, draw the chest open. And as you release, lower the arms as you straighten the leg. Inhale, bend into that front leg, let the arms move up. And as you exhale, squeezing and releasing the arms down. So just rinsing out the area between the shoulder blades. Squeezing and then releasing. Good. Coming into Warrior One, find that space, not forcing the stretch. And as you exhale, you're going to fold forwards, crossing the arms in front of you. And as you inhale, lifting, opening through the front of the chest. Exhale as you fold and inhale as you lift. Good. Exhale as you fold and inhale as you lift. Good. Come to the long edge of your mat. I'm going to take some directional breathing here. Inhale, turn the toes out, sink into the thighs, and as you exhale, push the hands away in front of you. Good. Breathing in, come back to the center. And as you exhale, you're pushing the hands away at the area of the abdomen. So really thinking about letting go of the tension in the body, the discomfort. Breathing in, and as you exhale, push the hands away towards the walls either side of you around the area of the chest. So maybe any emotional things that you're trying to let go of, any negative emotions. Good. Breathing in. And as you exhale, lifting any negative thoughts out of your mind. Good. Breathing in. And exhaling, again lifting, pushing those thoughts away. Good, release the arms down, turn to the other edge of your mat, coming into Warrior One again, bending into that front leg, feeling nicely rooted through the 2 feet. As you inhale, send the arms away. Good, squeeze the upper back muscles together as you open through the chest, and then as you exhale, release the arms down. Inhale, bend into the leg, find a little bit of space in the spine, squeeze the back together. And then release. Again, inhale. Relax the shoulders. Hold the shape as you breathe. Keeping the neck so that the space. And as you exhale, folding. Just crossing the arms in front of you and inhale as you lift. So you don't need to make this a really deep shape. You can touch the ground if you want to, or you can just come halfway. So remember to practice really thinking about your own body and where you are or what you're carrying tension-wise in your body at the moment. Good. Opening through the chest and then releasing, coming back to the long edge of the mat. 3-well breathing, but only once in each direction. So around the area of the abdomen. And notice how I'm trying to stay nice and upright around the area of the torso, the chest, the torso. And then again, lifting the hands up as you sink down. Good. And then release. With the feet nice and wide, but the feet are parallel to the short edges of the mat. Lift, so we're going to say this is the top of my mat. Lift the back heel and slip it away, and the front foot pivots and points towards the top of your mat. Sinking into your legs, bringing the arms up to shoulder height. So drawing the bow, so we would make an L shape with the index finger and thumb, and the other fingers just wrap round. The other hand comes around and you hook onto an imaginary bow. And as you breathe in, you draw back across the front of the chest, and my nose draws back away from that front hand as well. And as you exhale, you release and let the arm float back to the start position. Good. Inhaling. And you can even actually imagine firing a real arrow from your bow and releasing. And that aspect of maybe even aiming for a target, which is a very satisfying process of letting go. Good. Let's take one more of these. And the idea is that you're sort of losing your stress leaves. All the leaves have fallen now here, but you know, if you're practicing this in early autumn, the idea is that with every exhalation, you can lose another stress leaf from your shoulders. Turn to the side. Again, inhaling, exhaling, sinking down into the thighs, pushing the hands away around the area of the abdomen. Coming back in, pushing the hands away around the area of the chest. Anything emotional, inhale. And as you exhale, lifting off the head any weights, any burdens, any worries, and then releasing. Straighten the feet up, lift the back heel, slip it away, front foot pivots and points towards the top of your mat, coming into warrior 2. Again, make that L shape with the index finger and thumb with the front hand. As you breathe in, you create a little bit of tension as you pull back. And again, you're opening through the front of the chest. You're drawing the nose away from the front hand. And as you exhale, you're releasing. The process of letting go is really fundamental for our health. Letting go of the carbon dioxide and the toxins from the body. Breathing in the good stuff and letting go of the unwanted. The inhale is a little bit more yang, it's a little bit tenser. And when you release, you relax and you let go. Last one, inhale. Good. Release, lower the arms down. Turn to the long edge of your mat and hinge forward into your forward fold. Bring the hands underneath you. Take a little movement of the head from side to side. Feel the stretch through the backs of the legs. And then inhale, partway lift and turn to the top of your mat and hands either side of that front foot and step it back and lower the knees to the ground and push back into child's pose, sinking the hips back. So we're going to take a side stretch here. So bring the right hand back by the right leg and stretch the left arm across diagonally across your mat. So if you struggle to bring your hips to your heels in this pose, put something on your heels so you've got something to sit back onto. And we're going to the right side first because this is the way the large intestine works in the body. So it comes up on the right hand side. So we're squishing into that side first, opening into the left side, taking just a couple of breaths, noticing the rhythm of the breath. The breath is so important when we're working with the lungs. And then inhale as we lift up and take that to the other side. Again, just a little compression into that left side, opening through the right side. As you breathe, nice and slowly. And then inhale as you come back to center and just walk the hands away in the center line and opening through the armpits and see if you can rest the rib cage on the thighs and the forehead down. And then inhale as you come to all fours. So that block, bring it around. We're going to take thread the needle here. So thread the needle, you're keeping the hips above the knees. We're going to post this right arm under the left. Ear is going to come down and rest, or side of the head is going to rest on the block. And we're just using the left hand palm to the ground to support us. Again, I'm going using the right side first. I'm just going to turn around so you can see what my arm is doing.
So either the palm is on the ground, supporting you, but ideally to send it up and bend at the elbow and just slide that arm into the lower back. So this opens up through a key point in the lung meridian, lung 1, just under the last third of the collarbone. But remember, it's fine to stay here. So just finding that little twist, that little opening as you breathe in and out slowly. Good. Take another breath here. And then release the hand down. Draw that arm out. Come back to the center. As you're coming back to the center, I'm just going to whiz around. Take a little arched cat in the middle, rounding your cat. And then take that to the other side. So the left arm is going to post under the right. Try to make it as comfortable as you can. And so my hips are over my knees. And then maybe threading the arm around the lower back to open into this lung 1 point beneath the last third of the collarbone, just quite near the shoulder area. Sucking the air into the body. And just resting on the back of the other arm. Good, really good. And then release that hand back down to the ground. Push into it to come back up. Again, just arch or round your cat. And then coming into puppy stretch. There are many variations on this. So again, the hips stay above the knees. You can come down and walk the forearms forward and rest the forehead on the forearms, and you're letting the rib cage come down. You can try that with just one arm extended or 2 arms extended. Something a little bit stronger is to bring a block underneath the hands so that there's more space for the rib cage to come down. So just picking the shape that works for you, finding that stretch through the armpit area. So I'll take the slightly easier variation to demonstrate. And you're really opening through the intercostal spaces into the armpits, from the ribs to the shoulder blades. Good, releasing. There's a few muscles that we try and focus on that are linked to the organs and meridians. And then inhale as you lift up the back ribs and move forwards and down onto the belly. Just come all the way down for a moment and just wriggle the hips gently from side to side. And then just come into Sphinx Pose. Hold on to the elbows, wriggle the hips in to find a good position. Shoulders roll down away from the ears. Create space through the front of the body. You can adjust the feet and take them a little bit wider. Breathing, maybe taking a little turn from side to side with the head. See how the neck feels. And then in the position, just resting and find that opening. So remember, this pose, so good. I put it into most of my classes. A nice gentle back bend that really stimulates the kidneys, stimulates the batteries of the body. Topping up our essence. In TCM, they call it Jing, the energy. Good, and then releasing down. Bring the hands under the shoulders, lifting the shoulders and the hips, and moving it back into Child's Pose. Sinking the hips back as you breathe. We're just going to do this pose called moving cat. So taking the hands wider. As you inhale, you're going to keep the head low, bend the elbows. If you're dribbling a ball along the mat, come in line with your hands, press into the hands, lift up. And as you exhale, you're going to round and arch on the way back. Just take a couple of these, breathing in and exhaling as you move back. Last one, inhale. And then exhale as you send it back. Good. Come to all fours. Bring the hands in a little bit now so they're directly under the shoulders. Make that L shape between the index finger and thumb. Tuck the toes under, roll the upper arms out and send it back into down dog. Let's just pedal the heels to the ground slowly. Breathing in and out slowly. Just finding the stretch to the backs of the legs as you breathe. Good. Looking between the hands, bending the legs and walking the feet to the top of the mat. Stay low. Come into your forward fold. And then inhale as you root down. Bring the arms up. And exhale, bring the hands back down to the chest.
So let's try some of the standing Bastrika. So arms are going to go up, feet are sort of hip distance apart. You make fists as you draw the hands back down, and you bring the fist to the chest. So that's the exhale. So this is the inhale, fully breathe in, and this is the exhale. You fully breathe out. Abdominal muscles draw back to help to force the air out of the body. So we do it in a pumping action, and we do it quite quickly. And we're going to do 10 pumps. If it makes you feel lightheaded, you just stop. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. Step the feet wider, turn the feet out. And do the same thing again, but this time arms are going to move away. As you exhale, you're going to make fists, and you're going to bring the fists back into the sides of the waist. Inhale, exhale as you pump. Good, breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Just push the hands away around the area of the belly. Inhale. Exhale. Push the hands away around the area of the chest. Just connect back into that breathing, nice and slowly. Exhaling, sinking down into the legs. Good. And then release. Walking the feet in so they're hip distance apart. Send the arms up. Let's take that side stretch again. So you can see how that Bastrika really brightens and lightens the energy. Can make you a little bit lightheaded, so just take it a little bit careful. Bring the arms behind the back, interlace the fingers, point the index fingers away and fold forwards. Keeping the head high if you need to, if not, bringing the head beneath the heart. And just letting the arms float up towards the ceiling. Audible exhale. The letting go process is so important in this metal element practice. Lower the arms, inhale, lift the head and chest, come all the way to standing. Come to the top of your mat. Bring the inside edges of the feet together. Bring the hands to the chest. Take a side stretch as if you're yawning. So you're leaning over to one side. Breathing in, come back into the center, and as if you're yawning, side stretch the other way. Again, bring the arms behind the back, interlace the fingers, open through the front of the chest and fold. Feet together. Send the arms up. Get that opening into the shoulders. Lower the arms, sit into a chair with the hips and bring the arms through into fierce pose. So really think about bandhas here, lifting through the pelvic floor, drawing the navel back, that little tuck underneath the rib cage so that you're not tilting the pelvis. Then as you straighten the legs, come into your forward fold, nose towards the knee. Inhale, partway lift. As you exhale, step back with one leg, step back with the other leg, lower the knees and push back into child's pose. Good. Let's move our cat. Inhale, dribbling the ball along the mats. And as you exhale, moving it back. Go again, inhale, stay the low road forwards. And as you exhale, moving back. In one more of those, inhale and exhale. Coming into your child's pose. And then just come up to all fours for cat-cow. So just arching, rounding your spine. And then as you inhale, tilting the pelvis towards the ground and opening through the front of the body. As you exhale, arching and rounding. Good. And then inhale. Tucking the toes under. As you exhale, rooting through the heels of the hands, send the thighs back. Again, you can pedal here if it feels like the best thing to do, or starting to think about the heels drawing towards the ground, but keeping a little bend in the knees. Watch the weight coming down through the arms, so keep it consistent either side. Get that opening through the armpit area and that length through the spine. Breath is slow, deep, consistent.
Good. Looking forwards, bending the legs and walking or stepping the feet together so the inside edges of the feet touch, sinking the hips and coming up through that fist pose or Utkatasana chair pose. Again, think about bandha so that you keep that pelvis nice and in neutral, and then straighten the legs and bring the hands back to the chest. Take a rotation. So keep one hand on the chest as you turn to the side, opening. Inhale, come back to face the top of your mat. And as you exhale, take your rotation the other way. Good, inhale. Bring the arms behind back. So careful with this. Try to change the interlacing each time. So try to have a different thumb on top and the fingers interlaced in a different way. We tend to be very much creatures of habit and we do everything the same way, but that causes imbalances in the body, even if they're only tiny, but they all mount up to something bigger. Lower the arms, sink into the legs, come into your fist pose. Good. Straighten the legs, bring the arms out to the side like wings, and take that right arm over the left and give yourself a hug. And as you give yourself a hug, you can sink back down into the legs again. Inhale, open out your wings, and take that left arm on top of the right as you sink down again. Good. And then release. Let's take that into eagle arm. So right arm goes over left. You can hold onto the shoulders or you can release the backs of the arms towards each other, maybe even bring the palms together. Sometimes just the baby finger and thumb will work. And you sink into the legs and you lift the elbows and get that stretch into the shoulders. Remember, this is fine, or you can work with the arms a little bit more. Good, release, inhale, do the opposite arm on top. Again, coming into eagle arms, Garandasana arms, or just focusing on holding the shoulders. Maybe lifting the elbows a little bit more and taking the gaze to the tip of that index finger. Good, and then release. As you straighten the legs and bring the arms wide, you can swallow dive down into your forward fold. Inhale as you lift up, step back with the right foot, walk it back and lower the knee to the ground. So this is where you might need to bring a block in on the inside of this foot and the arm presses into the leg. You're going to draw the bow here as we did standing. Inhale, I'm tracing the inside of the arm and opening this arm up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, releasing it back down. So we'll do 3, and on the third one, we're going to hold the shape. And this sort of repetitive shape is really good for opening into the area of the lungs. On this third one, turn the palm to face behind you, bend at the elbow, and slide the arm into the back of the waist, working on opening into that last third of the collarbone as you breathe. Good. And there is a bind here that some of you might be able to take where you let go of the block or the ground, you bend at the elbow with the bottom hand and maybe try to catch the fingers of the other hand. But that's quite strong rotation. So just go steady. Make sure it's suitable for where you are right now with your practice. One more breath here. And then release the bind if you have it. Turn to the ground, release the hand down, draw back into a hurdler stretch. And then come on forwards and step that leg through. So we're going to do knee to nose here. So draw the knee through the center line and round. And inhale, send the leg away, push the heel away. And exhale as you round. Again, inhaling, sending the leg away. And exhaling. So we're going to come down onto our forearms. You can lower the foot to the ground to access this, or you can stay with the leg lifted. And once you're down, hold the elbows to get the positioning of the forearms and extend the forearms in front of you. The other leg then can lift up towards the ceiling. So we get this inversion, get this natural release of the diaphragm, the major muscle of respiration that we're working with in this practice. So really allow that to release down into the rib cage. Good, lower the leg down, just cross it over the other one, touch the toes onto the floor, and then just sneak a little look over that right shoulder as you sort of close a little bit through the right side and you lengthen through the left side of the body as you breathe. Take another breath. And then release, unstep it. Lift back up into all fours and just take a little half plank here. So bring the right hand under the right shoulder, right foot slips out behind you, sole of the left foot comes to the floor, and just that lovely opening. Find that little bit of space, maybe taking the gaze up towards the ceiling as you breathe. So we're going to take this into thread the needle. So it's a dynamic transition into it. So if you're not sure, just take a look first. So as I lower the arm down, I turn back to face the mat and I thread that arm through all in one movement. If I need the block, I'll need to bring it in. And again, either just resting the hand on the ground, I could extend the right leg away and maybe bring this arm around the back as well. Alternative is to stretch that arm out in front of you, walk the fingers forwards, opening through the armpit, or even palms together and bringing the thumbs in towards the chest, elbows point apart. So this is obviously the strongest variation. As you breathe, find that steadiness in the breath, just coming to the shape that works for you. So we try not to strive, we try to make the practice as effortless as possible, making sure you can breathe in all the poses. Good, bring the hand back down or release the hands if they are in namaste, lower the knee, come all the way out into your half side plank and maybe even stretch that arm forward to get that stretch all the way down through the side of the body. Good. And then turn to the ground, push back into child's pose. So now we're going to introduce this thing called a moon flow. So straight arm transition, you can stay with the little cat flow that we did. If not, straight arm transition, arms at shoulder distance. And then you just let the chest move through the arms, a little give at the elbows, and just open all the way through the front of the body, lifting the gaze. And as you exhale, you bring the chin into the chest and you float back. As much movement through the spine as you can, and just bring the feet in to touch, the big toes touch. As you come up, you arching your rounding, you're shifting the weight, trying to let the weight of the sort of shoulders come down through the wrists and the weight of the lower body come down through the legs into the feet. And don't go quickly, go slowly. It's better to do a couple of really good movements than just try and rush. So we need to do that on the other side. So stepping the right leg through, bringing the block in if you used it on the other side, drawing the bow, inhaling, opening through the chest. Exhale as you release. Inhale as you open. And exhale as you release. Good. On the third one, maybe see if you can bring this arm into the lower back so you'll be able to see from the side where it goes. You can either hold the thigh or you could just rest it on the sort of back of the kidney area, maybe taking the gaze up towards the ceiling as you breathe. Some of you are taking a bind on the other side as well, where you threaded that bottom arm through to find the fingers. But make sure you can breathe if you're in this slightly stronger shape. Release the bind if you have it. Turn to the ground, draw back into a hurdler stretch. Hamstrings stretching nicely here. Step it forward, step this leg through. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees to know, a little bit of core, a little bit of effort. Inhaling and exhaling as you round. And inhale. And exhale. Good. Extend the leg away, come down onto the forearms. You can lower the leg to do this. Get the right position by holding your elbows and then releasing and re-elevate the leg. This naturally releases the diaphragm into the rib cage, which is going to naturally release the toxins, the carbon dioxide from the body. The letting go process, so important with our metal elements practice. It's all about the letting go of anything negative, bringing in the positive, the new. Good, lower the leg down, cross it over the other one, tucking the toes under, and maybe just looking over that shoulder, just to create a slightly stronger shape, a stronger stretch as you breathe, not forcing. Good. And then unstep the leg, lift back up onto your hands. Turn it into a half side plank. Just keeping that hand under the shoulder. Find the opening first. And then we're moving dynamically into this thread the needle. So you can bring a block in or just rest the side of the head on the ground and the other leg extends. Either supporting yourself with this left palm, you can tuck that left arm around the back, you can walk the fingers forwards, or you can bring the palms into namaste and draw the thumbs in towards the center of the chest or towards that upper shoulder. Fingers point forwards towards the top of your mat as you breathe. Elbows are moving apart. Good. Make sure the quality of the breath isn't compensated in this pose. Make sure you can breathe. I can't speak, but make sure you can breathe. Okay. So this meticulous practice, really important part of our practice. Release the arms. Press that left hand into the ground. Inhale as you open, drop the knee. Open all the way out into your half side plank. And maybe stretch that arm forward to open through the side of the waist. Good. Breathing. So feel organized. Feel the structure of the practice. Feel that organization. It's a meticulous way of practicing, being very careful. Pushing back. This is qualities of the metal element. As you come up, either moving cat, cat, cow, or moving into your upward facing dog. So taking your time, making sure that you're placing the body parts exactly where you want them to go. You're not moving into any shapes that feel uncomfortable for the body in any way. You're practicing how you want to practice. This concept of boundaries, of only letting in what you want to let in and keeping everything else at bay. Bring the hands in under the shoulders, toes tuck under, move it back into your down dog. Find that lovely stretch, that length in the spine, opening into the armpit area. Heels are coming down towards the ground. Equal pressure through the hands into the ground as you breathe. Good. Letting go on the exhale. Good. Looking between the hands, bending the legs and stepping or walking the feet together so the inside edges of the feet just touch. Sink the hips as you come up into your fist pose. And as you exhale, bring the hands back to the chest. So this time as you turn to the side, feet stay together. One arm opens forward, one arm is going back. Inhale, come back into the center, and then you turn in the other direction. Good, release, bring the arms behind the back, interlace the fingers. Remembering you're trying to remember which way you did it each time so you can try to change it. Good. Lower the arms, lift the head and chest, come into your fist pose. So we're going to bring the palms together here. We're going to lift the right elbow and lower the left elbow down, trying to bring that left elbow towards the outside of the thigh. But that's quite strong, so you might need to open up that arm and just rest the wrist there as a variation. Okay? So you're opening through the chest area, shoulder blades are drawing towards each other. Good, release, inhale, come back into the center, back to through fists. Take that to the other side. Remember, you can just use the back of the arm or you're bringing the elbow down. Try not to let the right knee shoot forwards. Keep that sense of groundedness, rootedness. And then release, inhale, back into the center. Straighten the legs as you dive forwards, nose to knee. Inhale, lift up, step back with the right leg, wriggle it back and lower the knee to the ground. So again, you might want to bring your block in here on the underside of the right hand. You're going to turn in towards the bent leg and find that inwards rotation. You can lift the back knee if that feels accessible, but it's fine to keep the back knee down. Sometimes you need padding for that knee as well. Good, lower the hand to the thigh as you lift up. Take the same arm as back leg up. Lower the arm down to the outer edge. This is sort of preparing us for this revolve side angle and just turning a little bit, but not overextending your stay. We're just visiting it briefly. And then release, inhale. Come back to face the top of the mat and send the arms up into Anjasana. We're going to come forward. So tuck the toes under the back foot and lift the knee and step it through. Two hands and the foot make a tripod shape, and it's as if you've got little grapefruits under your hands. You're going to drop the head and lift the foot, inverting your body. Again, this idea of really sublimating energy in the body, but also letting the diaphragm release naturally and easily into the rib cage. Soften the standing leg and lower the foot to the floor. Walk it back into your warrior one position. So feet are on separate tracks, arms float up. Sometimes you need to lower and lift the arms just to adjust the feet. So make sure it's a quality shape. This idea of working with a practice which has real quality and value. It's polished, it's accurate, detailed. Good. Take the time, bring the arms behind the back, interlace, think about the interlacing, folding forwards, lifting the arms. You can make this stronger, you can make this gentler. Good. Breathing. Find that stability between the 2 feet. Don't rush your practice. Lower the arms and lift the head and chest. Release the arms. Come into warrior for a moment. Bring the hands to the center of the chest. Step up for standing T, warrior 3. So drawing up through that spleen energy when we tapped up the inner side of the thigh and the ankle. And lifting that back foot and lowering the body towards the ground. So drawing up through the standing leg. See if you can bring that leg through. It doesn't matter if you touch down, but see if you can do it without touching down. Open the leg out to the side and then step it in front of the other leg. Arms are going to go wide. We're going to bring left arm over right. Hold the shoulders. Backs of the arms are going to come towards each other. Maybe we make the bind for Garandasana. Maybe just hold the shoulders. We sink into the standing leg. Stay strong. A little bit of bandha. Lift through that right foot. Maybe just resting it on the calf. You can tuck the toes behind the calf, but watch your knees. Lift the elbows and send the hands away from the face. So feel that stretch into the upper back as you practice. Good. So we're going to undo the legs and see if we can keep the arms going as we step back into warrior 2. And sometimes you need to look and sometimes you can figure it out just through your practice. Open the arms out. We're going to draw the bow here. So bring the back hand forwards, inhale, just like we did at the beginning. Open through the front of the chest and release. This time we're going to tip that into a peaceful warrior as we fire our arrow out towards the sky and then lean it back. Don't overstretch. Come forwards into side angle, rest the arm on the thigh, other arm comes up and over. Then we're going to bring the arm back. As our theme, we've been bending the elbow and sliding the arm into the back just to open through this sort of last third of the collarbone. You can stay here or you can take it deeper. You could bring a block in. You could take that bind again that we did kneeling at the beginning. You can do it now standing. But just making sure the quality of the breath isn't compromised. Okay, really important. Sometimes your enthusiasm for a pose means that you hold it and you just grip with all your might. We're trying to keep that lovely sort of quality and standard of breathing throughout the practice to get the benefits. To come out of it, release the bind, turn to the long edge of your mat and just fold for a moment, releasing the crown of the head down. And then inhale as you lift up, turn back to the top of your mat and drop the back knee to the ground. So revisiting this revolved shape, but maybe a little bit stronger than before. So we've done it from here. You can turn in, so that's one option. Or else take the same arm as back leg up, turn in towards this bent leg, and you can bring the palms together. See if you can hook that elbow over the outside of the thigh. I'll just turn around so that you can see it. So here, remember if this is striving, you just come to here. If you're here on the exhale, you could lift the back knee and you could focus on that opening. Maybe looking over that top shoulder as you breathe. Find that steadiness. Good. So while you're in the pose, I'm going to switch back around. Good. Take one more breath. To come down, lower the knee. Release the arms, slide the arms out slowly. Face the top of your mat as you pick up the back knee and just turn, walking it over, bringing your block if you used it over to the other side of your mat. We're just going to take a little swoosh from side to side. So literally just bending and straightening into alternate legs as we let the arms just move from side to side. Good. And then turn to the back of your mat and drop that back knee to the ground. Remember, you can bring padding in. Block goes underneath the shoulder, same arm as back leg. You turn into that bent leg and find that opening. You can lift the back knee to make it a bit more spacious. If you can keep the back knee down. Good. Exhale, lower the hand to thigh, lower the knee to the ground. Same arm as back leg goes up. We turn into that bent leg. Lower the arm to the outside of the thigh. So this is just finding the shape without making it too strenuous. Good. Release, inhale. Face the end of the mat. Just send the arms up and Anjaneyasana. Lower, step up. Take that little inversion. So remember, you can keep the head a little bit higher. You could use blocks for your hands or just fingertips. That sort of natural release of the diaphragm. So you're making it effortless to exhale, to empty out anything that's unwanted from the body. Thoughts, ideas, frustrations, anything at all. And then slowly lowering that foot to the floor, walking it back to find warrior one. So adjust the feet, make sure it's a doable pose. Maybe lower the arms as you readjust. Okay, so that meticulous quality of working with metal. Bring the arms behind the back, interlace the fingers and folding. So this puts pressure into the abdominal area. And then we get this lovely stretch into the shoulders and into the arms where the meridians lie. And I'm pointing the index fingers away as well to signify that sort of letting go process. Lower the arms, inhale as you lift, release the arms through. Bring the hands to the center of the chest, palms come together and step up for Vira 3, Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Drawing up through the standing leg, not locking the knee though. When you lock the knee, you stop energy from moving through that joint. You create a lock or a boundary. Good. Release the leg through. See if you can lift it and then step it in front of the other leg. Right arm on top of left. Find eagle arms. Backs of the hands together or palms together. Sink into the standing leg. Maybe slide that left leg or foot up the calf. Lift the elbows and take the hands away from the face. As you just breathe. Taking the gaze to the tip of that index finger. Good. Take another breath. Lovely. Unbind that leg, but keeping the arms bound, stepping back into Warrior 2. Adjusting the feet so it's comfortable for your hips, releasing the arms, so you're opening the arms out as you sink into Warrior 2. Draw the bow, so you draw back, a little bit of tension on the inhale, move the nostril away from that front hand, exhale, relaxation. Every time you breathe in and exhale is an opportunity to let go of a little bit more from the body. A little bit more harshness, a little bit more of what you don't want. As you exhale, tip it back. Good. Come forwards into side angle. Maybe wrapping that arm around the back. Maybe finding that bind where you thread that bottom arm through, but you make sure the head is centered and maybe looking up over the top shoulder, or you stay here, or you bring your block in as you breathe. Good. Letting go of any tiredness, any fatigue, bringing in some enthusiasm for this last little bit of the practice. Good. Releasing the bind if you have it, turning to the long edge of your mat, taking it to that wide leg forward fold, releasing down and then turning back to the other end of your mat, the end that we were just facing, to the back of the mat, and lifting up. So remember, you could take that easier variation that we did before. You keep the back knee down as well, or same arm as back leg goes up. You turn in towards that bent leg and you bring the arm to rest on the outside of the thigh. So if I swivel around so you can see, so that you can stay here, or if you get to the elbow, you can bring the palms together and separate the elbows. We're trying to bring the thumbs into the center of the chest, but don't crank the rib cage open. You can lift that back knee on an exhale as well. Maybe looking over the shoulder. The large intestine meridian comes through the neck, so it's quite nice to work with the neck as well as you breathe.
Good, really good. Keep going. We're nearly there with this practice. Quite strong. Take another breath in and out. Good. Lower the knee. Release the arms. Remember, you slide out of it slowly. Turn to face the end of your mat. And just step it back. Pushing the hips back, coming into child's pose. Just resting for a moment. If you want to move, moving through into that moon flow, into that upward facing dog. Shoulders are releasing down the back. And as you exhale, move it back. Just take a pause, take a moment, maybe resting the forehead on the back of the hands, just to allow the practice to be digested by the body. Notice how you feel the shoulders, the breath, the mind. And then inhale as you lift up and swing the legs around. So come into seated. So do a little forward fold first before we come down onto our back. So have your blocks and things nearby. So first of all, just take the flesh away from the sit bones, sit nice and tall, stretch through the backs of the legs. Hamstrings are one of our linked muscles, so it's nice to feel the stretch through the back of the knees. So it's going to mean when I come forward, I don't come as deeply into it. If I bent my legs, I'll be able to come a lot more, but I'm trying to focus on the backs of the legs. So let go of that trying. And just connect in with the fluid nature of the breath. Don't strive to be somewhere, don't effort. These last few poses are quite yin in quality. So just enjoy that process of watching the breath as it moves in and out of the body. That quality of releasing and letting go. Moving with the natural rhythm of the breath. Inhaling as you lift it up. Good. And just tuck the fingertips under the bum, bring the forearms down to the ground and just puff up the rib cage, coming into a gentle fish pose as you breathe, opening through the front of the body. And then release and come on down onto your back. So if you have a block, you can bring a block in. We're going to do a supported bridge. So one block is sufficient. If you haven't got a block, you could bring a couple of books in for this. So walking the feet in close to the hips, lifting the hips, lift the heels to slide the block in. The block's going to go under your sacrum, which is the fused bones at the base of your spine. You can take it a little bit higher, but don't have anything too high and too flimsy. And you want to make sure that you're on that fused plate, not into your lumbar spine. So not into the back of your waist, but sort of between your hip bones. And then we're just going to rest the shoulders down. Maybe even bring the arms a little bit wider. You could take cactus arms. And this sort of easy supported bridge pose. Just opening into the front of the body and all this lovely work we've done with the breath, working into the whole area of the lungs, front, back and sides of the rib cage. It's quite nice to experiment or play with taking one leg up towards the ceiling and then switching legs and taking the other leg up as well. And you could even take a very sort of gentle variation of shoulder stand by taking the legs up, 2 legs up. Remember, if you're menstruating, then it's not a great idea to have the legs lifted, but it can be personal preference. And just take a few breaths here. So we're going to do this relaxation called Viparita Karani, using the chair to support our legs. So this is similar. You can do this against a wall. You could do this on a chair. So I'm just showing you this sort of simple variation of it. Bring the feet to the floor, lift the hips and keep the heels lifted to slide the blocks out of the way. Come on down onto your back. Bring the knees into the belly. Just have a little rock from side to side, just to release. Come into happy baby, hold the backs of the thighs. Again, maybe just a gentle movement from side to side.
And then release. Let's bring the left leg to the floor and just hook that right ankle above the left knee. So we've not done a huge amount with the hips other than the standing poses. They have not been a focus for the practice, but just feeling into that right hip, maybe threading the right arm through the hole between the leg to hold on to the left shin, and just applying a little bit of pressure to that inner right thigh. But it's a nice stretch into the glute area, piriformis, that tensor fasciae lata in the outside of that right leg. Take another breath. And then release. So you can either keep the legs crossed like this, sliding that top leg over. This becomes a slightly stronger twist that we're going to do. If you think it's going to be too strong, then just undo the legs and have the feet hip distance apart. If the legs are crossed, move the hips a little bit to the right, and then let the knees fall to the left. You can always bring in your blocks again just to support your knees. We're trying to keep the shoulders down as we move into this pose. Lift the head and tuck it and turn the head in the opposite direction. I'm going to bring the left palm down and my right hand up. And this just works into the meridians in the arms. And just trace with your mind from that index finger of the left hand all the way up the arm to the shoulder, across the front of that shoulder to the neck, across the face to the opposite nostril. Then bring your focus or attention to the right arm, and just coming from the sort of front of the chest down the inside of the arm to the thumb. Just tracing your mind through these meridian lines in this twist. And then bring the head back into the center, undo the legs, bring the hips back into the center. Just notice. Come back into happy baby. Bring that right foot to the floor. Hook this left leg above the right knee. So making sure it's comfortable, doable, keeping the foot flexed so the knee's nice and safe. Maybe threading that left hand hole through the hole between the legs to hold onto the right shin. Keep the shoulders down as you breathe. Breathing in and out slowly. Experiencing that stretch into that left buttock area, glute. And then releasing the foot to the floor. Sliding that left leg over. Remember, you can unstep the legs for something a little bit easier. Just let the knees fall to the side, or twisting the roots, we call this. Move the hips a little bit to the left. And I'm going to bring my blocks around to do the other side. Let the knees fall. Arms come out to shoulder height. Right palm is going to go down. Left palm is going to face up, and lift the head and turn it to look away from the direction of the twist. Experience the sensation through that right arm from the index finger, back of the arm, back of the upper arm to the shoulder, side of the face to the nose. Just running your attention, your mind through that meridian line for the large intestine. And then coming down the left arm from the just underneath the collarbone, inside of the arm, forearm to the thumb. Just breathing calmly and smoothly in and out. And then inhale, center the head, bring the legs back in, and just notice the body. So we're going to come and do our relaxation with our legs on a chair. If you're on your period, or if you don't have a chair, then just come to Shavasana. Okay, regular Shavasana. If you have a chair, or if you have a sofa, come to your sofa. And I've deliberately left my socks on the chair to remind myself, to remind you to put your socks on. It's very hard to throw blankets and things over your body in this position. So it's a good idea to get covered up to begin with. And I've got a wooden chair, so I put a blanket over the chair as well to make it a little bit more comfortable. You can use your sofa, no problem. So I'm going to bring a block in for my hips. I want to get my hips a little bit higher than my shoulders. It's not essential, but it adds a quality to this pose. You sit in sideways, nice and close to your support, so you can shimmy around and let your legs rest on the chair. And then you lower yourself down
to your back. Shimmy in nice and close. You can always lift the hips and slide the block in afterwards as an alternative as well. So making sure that's comfortable for your legs. Everybody's legs are different lengths, so you might need to pack the legs up a little bit higher with something. You might want to support the ankles. Sometimes if I'm doing this, I will roll up a blanket and place it underneath my ankles. Make sure that that block is under the sacrum and make sure the shoulders are in a nice comfortable position. And then take your blanket and cover your torso up so that you can relax in the pose, okay? The hardest thing is to stay warm in this pose because you can't throw a blanket over easily. And just bring the arms out by the side of you. Take a lovely breath in and a lovely exhale. So Viparita Karani, or legs on a chair. Or you could also do this pose with your legs up against a wall, and you could raise your hips on a bolster or on a block. If you use a wall, I would definitely use a yoga strap around the thighs to keep the legs from falling away from each other. And you get this lovely sensation of the fluid draining down through the legs towards the hips, like snow melting from a mountain and draining. So it's a really useful pose for anyone that gets retention of fluid in their ankles. You can stay in this pose for up to 20 minutes. So I've heard this pose called the Martini Pose. It's meant to be better than a martini at the end of the day. It has such a restorative quality, and a lot of people, when they do this in my classes, they say they could just slip into sleep quite easily from this pose. So very relaxing, very calming. And so what happens with the diaphragm is it naturally releases into the rib cage because the hips are higher than the shoulders. So there's a natural sort of ascent of the diaphragm. So it does that process of letting go, of exhaling really easily. And it's that exhale that really helps us to move towards our relaxation response, our rest and digest and heal. It helps with your immune system because it's working with the lymphatics, the non-circulatory system by inverting the body. It's restful for the heart because the heart hasn't got to pump the blood so hard to get it back to the heart. If you get any numbness in the toes, you just gently wriggle the toes. Just become aware of the breath as it comes in and as it moves back out. Notice the quality, the sensations of the breath. Notice if you're breathing equally through both sides of the chest. Notice how the body feels as you breathe. That gentle shape shift. Feeling the contact between the body and the ground, the shoulders, the backs of the arms, the hips, the backs of the legs. Can you give in a little bit more to the shape, to relaxation? Just follow that quality of the breath all the way in and all the way back out again. The coolness of the air as you breathe it in and the warmth of the air as it leaves. Breathe in and feel confident, feel self-assured, feel calm. Breathe in and what feels of quality, what feels of value in your life, what feels finished, polished even and complete. As you exhale, let go of any tiredness, any lethargy, any tension. Let go of anything that feels messy, anything that feels unfinished, unpolished, incomplete. Feel positive, feel calm, feel complete, organized and prepared. Just noticing that natural rhythm of the breath, just floating in and floating back out on an effortless wave. So like I said earlier, you could stay here, you could have turned me off by now and just be doing the pose. If you're finishing with me now, just gently wriggle the toes and the fingers. Maybe even taking a stretch in the position. Bring the knees towards the belly. Just come and rest on one side. So depending on the block that you're on, if you're on a bolster, that'll be a little bit more challenging. Rest in that fetal position for a moment. Use your top hand to push yourself up, to come on up to seated. Just choosing a comfortable seated position. Noticing how you feel. Relaxing the spine. Let the arms float up, palms come together, and bring the thumbs to the crown of the head, third eye, heart center. Om Shanti, Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing me. I do hope you're enjoying these videos, and subscribe and then you'll find out when I upload another one. Trying to work through all the elements as we go through the year. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.